Number 205, Amanda, down.
Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. My name is Amanda, some people call me AJ. I am a Canadian lifetime natural bodybuilder and a full-time posing, bodybuilding, and lifestyle fitness and nutrition coach. Welcome to part 2 of the I got a breast augmentation vlog. In the last video, we documented the first couple days of recovery. Since then, I have been hanging out with some discomfort, but for the most part, not really been in any pain. My boobs still look absolutely insane. Like they look like Frankenstein boobs. Today is now 8 days post-op and we are going downtown Toronto to meet with our surgeon. I'm looking forward to bringing you along. Hi friends. The appointment was great. Yeah, it's 6:30 p.m. right now. I didn't take y'all along for any part of the day. Well, actually, I brought my camera with me, but when I was going through the motions and doing all the things today with the appointment, there was no time where it ever would have been appropriate to flip on a camera. Essentially, I showed up for my post-op appointment. I took off my top and my bra so they could see things. They cleaned out my sutures. I did under the breast fold incision. So they cleaned out my sutures. They retaped me. And then the doctor came in, took a look, gave me some specific tips on how he wants me to do my post-op massages. Things were looking good for me. They did mention that one of my sutures looked a little bit irritated, but not infected. They just cautioned me to be careful when I'm putting back on my bra, making sure that I have some additional padding between tape, the suture, and the bra. Aside from that, I go back in 2 more weeks for another checkup. I'm so excited for that, but I thought I would use this opportunity to answer some general questions or give y'all some general insight about breast augmentation, kind of like 101s. I'll be your breast augmentation big sister. The main question that everybody seems to ask me is, why did I get a breast augmentation? And truthfully, that is an incredibly personal question to ask somebody. I think that's an entirely inappropriate question to ask somebody. And so for that, I'm actually not going to answer that question because it's cosmetic, and you know what? I'm not going to answer that question. The answer is very deep and very personal for me, and I'm going to keep it for myself because that's how I would like it. Please respect that area of my privacy. Thank you very much. In regards to what exactly did I do, that I will gladly answer for you guys. There's silicone versus saline implants. Imagine a full water balloon. It would be like a silicone implant where that water balloon is pre-filled and then they put that implant in, whereas saline is the water balloon is empty. They put the empty water balloon inside and then fill up the sac with saline solution. I did saline implants. We did under the muscle, so you can go under your muscle, you can go over your muscle. I did under my muscle just because it's going to provide a little bit more support and give them a little bit more lift. I did a breast fold incision, which means that my incision and sutures are under my breast fold. You'll see some girls that get them done in their armpits. Some people go through their areola. It really just again depends on your preference and your surgeon as well. I did 400 cc's. I don't know if I mentioned that. 400 cc's saline implants under the breast fold, under the muscle. There's one more thing to note there. Oh, and I did high profile. Profile is how much they extend out from your chest. There's low, moderate, and high. I did a high profile. Obviously, you're not getting an accurate representation for what they're going to look like because I have freaking boobs. They look crazy. They're not gonna look good, normal, cute, settled for quite some time. I'm prepared to wait that time. I knew that they were gonna look weird like this. What else is there for me to mention? In terms of time off of training, time off of lifting anything more than 2 pounds for me is going to be up to 6 weeks here. As per training, I believe I can start doing some light lower body work after 4 weeks, but I usually wait until you get cleared at a 4 to 6 week post-op appointment. Until then, I will just continue to follow my current macros and I do my daily steps to keep myself nice and active. I cannot lift my arms above about here right now. Can't lift more than 2 pounds, cannot bring my arms anywhere above there. Even like stretching back and front is also kind of awkward right now for me too. What else? A lot of people asked, how do you decide on a size? When you go in for your consultations at your surgical office, they should have different sizes for you to try on under a shirt or with a bra, so you can see how different sizes kind of look, get an idea for what you want on your personal physique or what your body requires. I went based on my personal preferences and then what my surgeon specifically recommended. I've also had a lot of people ask me, how do you find a surgeon? I found my surgeon based on references. There was a handful of girls that I personally DM'd and I said, hi, I love your boobs. I'm sorry if this is awkward. I was just wondering, who's your surgeon? Every single one of those people that I DM'd was more than happy to share their surgeon with me. And it was funny because there was a very common thread. A lot of them actually had the same surgeon. And that was ultimately how I decided to go with the surgeon that I went with. I like his results and I wanted those results for myself. What qualifies you to be a good person for a breast augmentation? That really should be a conversation between you and yourself. If you feel like you are prepared for something like that, and yourself and your medical team / your surgeon. And then the most common question everybody wants to know, and it's no secret, it's all over every single surgical website. How much does something like this cost? There's things that change costs, whether you do silicone or saline, whether you are just doing an augmentation, whether you also need a mastopexy, so like if you need a breast lift, if you're moving around your areola, you have loose skin. There's a million and one things to consider, but a breast augmentation can range between about $9,000 to $12,000 Canadian dollars. For my American friends, that would be, what would that even be? $6,500 to $9,000-ish USD. I believe that's a really, really rough estimate, so don't take my word for that. It is a lot cheaper if you get a surgery like this out in the States. I know that you can get a surgery for like $4,000 to $6,000 Canadian if you're willing to travel down to Miami. As a solo female, I didn't feel comfortable going to another country for a big operative surgery. And then also the added expense of having to pay for a caregiver while you're down there is also a consideration, paying for your flights, your accommodations, your hotels. With all of those things, by the time you add up that extra money, it's kind of the same price to just do it here. And then I also don't have the stress if I do it here where I'm local, because I have two phenomenal and supportive parents that were able to support the very early stages of my recovery when I really, really had to rely on other people for quite literally everything, every single thing. With that said, I think I answered a lot of the general kind of common questions that people ask me all the time. More often than not, you will have to pay a surgical office for a consultation, but if you are serious about this surgery, you should have no problem paying for your consultation. And realistically, if you're not willing to pay $100, $50 to speak with the experts that are going to knock you out, put you under, stuff something in your chest, and change the way that your body looks for the rest of your life, it's just like, no. I promise you that consultation money is going to be very well spent. Oh, actually, I think there was one more question that I did want to answer that for you guys. Somebody had commented. Okay, so this was the question I wanted to answer. Implants are not permanent. I will not have these same implants in my chest from now until the day that I die. It's not that I can't have these same implants in my chest from now until the day that I die. It's just that they do suggest every 10 to 20 years you do get them removed and or redone. And in that instance, if we took the middle ground of 15 years, in 15 years I will literally be 40. I will be 40. And so when I am 40, I will decide. But until then, I don't have to worry about it. One of the nice things about saline is that if anything happens to either one of my implants, there is no medical emergency for me to get them removed. If this popped or if it leaked, the only thing that would go into my system is saline solution, which is essentially salt water, which is 100% safe for the human body. And with that being said, if you have any more questions about breast augmentation that you think I could provide some insight on, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I would be so happy to answer them. I wanted to be really transparent about this whole process, especially coming from the bodybuilding and fitness world. world. I remember going through my first cut and watching some of my favorite bodybuilders either on YouTube or on Instagram. And I remember looking at their body and thinking, man, they get to keep their boobs all this fat loss phase, and I do a fat loss phase, and mine turn into these flappy, sacky, like pancakes. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with my body? Why does my body do that? How come I don't hold on to my boobs? But it was genuinely just because I didn't realize that they had implants. I didn't realize that they had a cosmetic procedure. And that's why I decided to be so honest and straightforward about the fact that I chose to do cosmetic surgery. If someone tunes into my channel and they're like, wow, that girl's lean, but she's got great boobs, her body is perfect. It's like, yeah, I paid 10 grand for these boobs. Okay. I didn't do anything. I'm not genetically blessed. There's no way. I'm going to be transparent about it because I think people just have the right to know what they are looking at, what they're seeing, if that makes sense. I hope my message is really getting across there, what my intention is in sharing the fact that I did this. Because trust me, I was saying this to my parents, y'all. This is so intimate. This is so personal. This is so personal. And if you would have ever told me that I would be exposing parts of my life like this online, God, it's terrifying. It's truly, truly terrifying, right? You open yourself up to so much criticism and so much judgment, so many opinions that I just didn't ever even ask for. You know, people messaging me out of the blue just to say, hey, oh my God, I'm so excited you finally got boobs. And I'm like, I don't know, like things just feeling backhanded. Anyways, I don't know what I'm getting on about, but we're not going to ruin the vibes. The vibes are really good right now. I'm going to drink my tea. I'm going to sit and chill. You guys know the drill. If you want to see anything else in relation to this, if you have any more questions, comment them down below. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel, follow along for the journey. Follow me on Instagram if you're not doing that already at AJ.LIFTS. Discount code AJLIFTS. All things Elevate, HD Muscle, HVYD Apparel. I love you, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye.